Welcome to the Sports on Pulse. I'm Gary Al Smith, and well, just about 24 hours ago, probably 30 to 35 hours ago, Isaac Dogboe became a world champion. WBO Super Bantamweight contest that was held in Philadelphia in the United States. He is to arrive in Ghana on May Day, that's tomorrow, after knocking out Jesse Magdaleno. In studio with me, Nathaniel Ato, to look forward to what next after this and a couple of other issues as well. Nathaniel, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you.
Now that he's won the title, we know that he's Ghana's 8th. What next for him?
Well, what is important for him at this time is, look, the team has, invested a lot of time, a lot of resources, and I think that it's good business-wise to make a lot out of this title. So what then happens is that you are going to stage a couple of defenses, and I'm hoping that he'll go beyond Ike Bazooka Quarte's 7 defenses, because at the last count he had defended it longest. I mean, in terms of who defended a title longest. So I think they've worked hard. They've broken their backs, and they've had loads of falls in terms of their finances and putting things together. So make the money, keep fighting, keep improving the brand, because you see, as he goes along, it will be, it will make a lot of sense that he becomes a better fighter. I mean, he didn't stage an all perfect, campaign on the night. So you're looking at him becoming a more attractive boxer, that he grows the likability more, so that the audience, especially those in the US who do the pay-per-view and patronize it the most, get to love him and get to like him. Once they keep calling for him, he's going to be headlining big events, and he is going to become a way bigger brand which will be sought after. In terms of unifying the division, I think he should concentrate on the WBO title, go 4, 5 times, 6 times possibly,
yeah,
so that the public asks for that. Because you see, if you decide to rush in to go for a defense with the IBF champion or with the WBC champion, Ray Vargas, or any of them, it becomes a problem. If you lose out on it, you may not be able to necessarily get the opportunity to get back on there. And the good thing, like I said, is that in the WBO, Isaac Dogboe, because of the good brand and the disciplined character that he's grown over the years, he is a brand that the WBO itself would want to promote and push out there. Look at the way Manny Pacquiao, for instance, stayed on with his WBO title, defended it several times and all of that. That is the kind of thing they are also looking at. So don't cross it yet. There's a lot of time. And remember, Isaac has age on his side as well. If God gives him life and he's able to stay in here, he can go all the way up to maybe 35 or 38. Yeah. And that's a lot of time in world boxing, because in a year, let's just say he's fighting twice every year, taking injuries out and taking all of these unfortunate happenings, as in, opponents chickening out and all of that. So once he has all of these things going for him, he can stage so many fights and he can become one of our greatest. You understand me? In terms of holding on to a title for 10 years like the legendary Azuma Nelson did, I'm not too sure, because nowadays, the boxing has become very, very competitive. It's become very, very tough. And to get the kind of quality of the likes of Azuma Nelson is also becoming, harder and harder. So let's just see how it goes. I think that this is the time to solidify the relationships. Rising Star Africa Promotions did a good job by collaborating with Top Rank, because Top Rank calls the shots. They have the big names. They have the money. They have the network of all of the kinds of resources and the logistics that you need to put together big fights such as these. So he's done this on ESPN. Let's look at him get on HBO. Let's look at him get on Showtime and take the big bucks. He's worked his skin off for this, and I think that he should also enjoy the golden roses that come with it, as we go along.
Right. The other question is that, I mean, Isaac Dogboe seems to have a lot of goodwill and public appeal. But beyond that, we know that 2 years ago, Emmanuel Tego, called Game Boy, won the IBO
title. Yes.
Title.
Yes.
Can you explain to us why even though he became a world champion, why we don't mention him among Ghana's 8 world champions, but we are saying Dogboe is one of the 8?
Well, in the world of boxing, it's very simple. I mean, the most preferred and the premium titles or the major titles are the WBC, the WBA, the IBF, and the WBO. You know, when you go to fightnews.com, which is one of the world's biggest in terms of, you know, you'd look at their rankings tables, and it has only these 4 major world bodies. Away from that,
so please
you have
repeat
their
them.
own, the WBC, the World Boxing Council, which is the world's premier,
Yeah.
the foremost world sanctioning body, the WBC, the World Boxing Association, the WBA, the International Boxing Federation, the IBF, and the World Boxing Organization, the WBO. So these 4 bodies are known and seen as the 4 major sanctioning bodies. So if you'd realize, when a lot of the time when a boxer is undisputed and undefeated or is a unified champion, he has all of the 4 belts in these major sanctioning bodies. You see, the International Boxing Federation, formed way back in the 80s and all of that, has grown itself over the years. It has had some very credible champions. As we speak now, Anthony Joshua, who is a very big face of world boxing now, is an IBO champion. So then, what are we talking about here? You see, but it looks like an unwritten rule. It's just like the U.S. president not wearing, any color away from navy blue, as for his suits.
Yeah.
And of course, a certain prescribed color of plain ties. You know, it's not necessarily written in the Constitution that you have to appear like that, but it's just there. You know, and the talk around it is that, you know, the nation's problems are so many, you don't have any, you know, business going to look around for different colors of suits and all of that. You understand me? So that is the you know. The other thing is, I think that the last bout that Tego staged did him a lot of trouble. Because, and it was because of the way he fought, you know. And, you know, I think that in terms of growing your likability, some of the things, one of the key things that you have to do is the way you also conduct yourself in the ring, because that's what grows the, you know, that's what grows the attraction to people. You understand? We're talking about non-boxing fans here. We're talking about those who also know the sport in its technical detail, you know. So he did not perform well. I do not think he performed well. For me, for someone like me who's in boxing and sees it from both a technical eye and from an amateur eye, I think that he didn't perform as well as we'd want him to. We had wanted him to entertain us. We had wanted him to give us a good show, based on which more people will come to support him anytime he's fighting. But we didn't see that, and I think that that is one of the things that also, you know, and I think that also his utterances, I think that he also needs to work around his communication, and all of this thing goes to his team. His team has to take the responsibility and work on all of these things going forward. All
right, thank you, Nathaniel. So, an explanation as to why Emmanuel Tego, the Game Boys IBO title, which he won in 2016 December, is not regarded as, you know, a proper world championship. But Dogboe's one that he won, the WBO, this weekend, is seen as one of the reasons why Ghana now has 8 world champions in its history. Dogboe will be arriving, like I said, in Ghana tomorrow evening, and we'll be talking more about the future of Ghana boxing later. I'm Gary Al Smith. Thank you, Nathaniel Ato, for joining us, and that's the sport. We finish with Dogboe's anthem.
Isaac Dogboe, a 2012 Olympian for Ghana. He's the WBO's mandatory world title challenger. He's fighting in the U.S. for the first time in 3 years. Claims by his father, his last 11 fights have been in his home country, Ghana. Majority of his life has been spent in London, where the family still lives. So a young man at 23 years old, who has won his last 3 fights and 9 of his last 11 fights by knockout. In fact, he had a knockout of the year candidate with a left hook back in January in Accra, Ghana, against Cesar Juarez. a short ring walk, but the sing-along extends it. His father, trainer Paul Dogboe, has been wildly brash, bold, and outspoken in the lead-up to this title fight. Mentally and physically, by all accounts, he is in a great place. But